Part 2 with Jersey Joe sure looks to be interesting. This Rocky Balboa superfan isn't just another meathead. He's so experienced when it comes to trade that he's like the Italian stallion of the stock market. Then, during the Gen Z slang segment, he almost gets KO'd.
Oh man, is he gonna be alright? Ha! He's old, but he'll be alright.
Jersey Joe definitely pulls no punches when it comes time to explain what is up. He goes hard when it comes to tariffs, journalism, and the lack of value for human life these days. These guys got the eye of the tiger. Here's your host, Bubba Seaman!
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. What is up? Welcome back for part 2 with none other than my man Jersey Joe Congemi, all the way from West Monroe, Louisiana. Like I said in part 1, he is the only Italian branch grafted into the Robertson family. For all of us Bible people, you'll understand what that meant. If you missed part 1, go back and listen to it. It was good. It was not your typical episode. We didn't follow some fancy format and dissected each moment of his childhood. He skimmed right to the good stuff that he wanted to get out there. So if you want to know all about his life change, man, it was drastic when he came to Jesus, and then he was mentored by the legend, Louisiana legend, Phil Robertson, and he talked all about it. So this week, though, we're going to get into his segments. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to finish it up by getting serious at the end. So to my audience, you know the drill. If you haven't already, if you're coming over from the Jersey Joe crowd, and same thing, if you're my crowd and you haven't followed Joe, definitely follow Joe on his website, on his YouTube channel, Jersey Joe Congemi. You can find him everywhere, follow him. But for me, you definitely got to subscribe, follow, like, wherever you listen or watch podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Leave us 5-star rating. That helps us get out there more. Follow our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok for more reels, pictures, and giveaways. Who doesn't like free stuff? Come on, you want free stuff? Get in on these contests. Share with all your friends on your social media and show off your impeccable taste by sporting some of our merch. You want one of these nice What Is Up shirts? It's got a Bible verse on the back. Got one en route to Joe right now, and he's going to see it show up on his front door one of these days. Once you've done all that, go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy the best new podcast on the market. All right, Joe, you ready to get into your segments, man?
I'm ready.
All right, let's kick this one off. And just full disclosure to the audience, Joe said, Bubba, you pick it. I'm an open book, man. I will do whatever you want. So there's no prep time for any of this stuff. He's just going to go right off the cuff from the heart. Pastor Tommy segment. You guys all know this is one of my favorite segments. My former pastor, Pastor Tommy, big movie guy. He hoped, and he would joke about, hopefully when we get to heaven, there's a movie theater room, like the best movie theater room you can imagine. And you could just say, I want to see this from any moment in history. And you could see it. God would just pop it in and show you this is how it actually went down, whether it was the flood or it was how the pyramids get built, or maybe it was, this Battle of Gettysburg. I don't know. Joe, if that room exists in heaven, when you get there, what do you want to see?
The Italian Stallion is going to be playing on a loop, baby. Rocky, all the way to Rocky 5, man. Every single one, because it's a story of being able to overcome obstacles, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's biblical. It's biblical, right? We all have it in life, right? We all have these obstacles that we have to overcome. We challenges every day, right? That's Rocky, baby.
Oh,
He's
man.
Italian Stallion to the heart. Sylvester Stallone, he is the man. And you know what? He's a Trump supporter, too.
Yeah, he's on his commission, right, to help
He
kind of
sure
get Hollywood straightened out or whatever.
Sure is. He
Oh,
sure is.
yeah. I love that correlation right there because, yeah, he doesn't win in the beginning.
No.
He loses one, and
That's
that movie
right.
won Best Picture. He comes back, wins in 2, but then gets high on the hog, gets humbled in 3. That is, yeah, it really is a great series. Awesome. I love it. Okay, so no actual real life event. You're saying I want that.
I'm saying I want that. Listen, I've already went through the real earth event stuff. I already know the Bible. I've read the Bible. I know what I'm in store for when I get there. So now it's going to be time to get up there, kick back, in one of them rooms that he prepared for me because he promised me a room that was going to be prepared. And
Yep.
I'm just going to sit back and watch Rocky and just live, live, live.
Oh, it's getting real. That's the real Jersey Joe, ladies and gentlemen,
That's
right
it.
there.
Listen, I told you, just because I'm Christian, it doesn't mean that I'm not funny.
Right.
To hang out with the Robertsons, you got to have thick skin. You got to know how to take a joke. And for those of you that have watched me on Unashamed, I don't let Jace get away with all his picking on people. I give it right back to him.
Yep. Yep.
Some like it, some don't like it. That's just me. Sorry. That's that New Jersey Italian attitude that comes out every once in a while. It doesn't mean that you can't have fun and
Sure.
be a Christian. I just act in biblical ways.
That's right. That's right. Being real, folks. Being real. Okay, Doug Heffernan's segment. You guys all know I'm a big fan of King of Queens, that old show. Doug Heffernan, he was the all-star back in high school. And as we get older, our high school glory days, the stories get bigger and bigger, and we hang on to them for some reason. Joe, do you got some sort of a high school glory day moment you want to share with everybody?
I mean, I played ball just like everybody else. When you think about high school, you like to kind of forget most of it. At least some of us do, because it was most of the embarrassing part of
Yep.
your life, right? I don't know. I was always like the jokester in high school. I always
Okay.
had fun and messed around. I always remember this one story where I had this buddy. Actually, I think it was my brother. Yeah, it was my brother. We had a bus stop to get on the bus right out in front of the house.
Okay.
And the bus stop was right in front of another house that had a chain link fence. I got this padlock from my dad's garage, and it was a combination padlock. So I had opened it, and my brother would always lean up against the chain link fence. So I went around the other side and I looped his belt around the chain
Oh,
link fence and locked it from the back and came back around like nothing was going on. The bus came and he goes to run.
wow.
Yeah. I was a jokester in high school, and that's all I remember is all the jokes that I used to do, all the pranks that I used to pull. I was
Now
definitely,
this is going to determine whether I side with you or not. Are you the older brother in that prank?
I am the older brother.
You son of a gun.
And still to this day, he still reminds me of that day. I just thought it was so funny.
Me and my brother get along better now, but that was totally my brother and me. Like
Oh,
you
you did.
guys,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I
That's all
did.
right. It made us stronger. It made us stronger.
Absolutely. It made him stronger. I mean, he ripped, he pulled away the first time and it slapped him right back. The second time he took off running, ripped the whole back of his pants off and got on the bus, had a big hole in his pants. The rest of the day in school, my mom beat my butt that night. I remember that, man.
Mm.
Oh, did she beat my behind? And
Yeah.
that's the problem with today. We don't correct our kids, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they tend to do
There's
a
a
lot worse than that
yeah.
if
Oh,
you give them
sure.
a
Yeah.
beat.
There's somebody wrote a book out there. It says America needs mean dads again. And he wasn't
Uh-huh.
saying we need abusive dads, but when you have a healthy fear of your dad, it affected your behavior. You know what I mean? Or even
Oh,
hearing, guys like Phil, when they would tell stories, like the school had authority to spank you, paddle you, or if you cut up at the neighbor's house, the neighbor's parents, like they had
oh yeah.
you didn't want to
Oh
let
no.
somebody down. It's just
Oh no.
not that way now. But
Nope.
all right, man, this one, I'm going to apologize ahead of time because I'm guessing you're going to struggle with this. I could be wrong, but
Okay. We'll
here
see.
we go. This is Gen Z slang. So I'm going to throw some words out that kids use today, and you're going to tell me if you know what they mean.
Okay.
Off the top of your head, do you think you're going to fare pretty well?
Uh, well, I do work in the IT industry, so I am highly involved in a lot of the technical things today. However, I don't spend much time on the Twitters and the Insta Snapchats and all that
Okay.
stuff. I have my daughter does all of that stuff for me. So just a disclaimer, if you send me a message on Slap Chat or Slack Chat or whatever that chat is, um, I'm not gonna answer because I'm not getting it. Either with Facebook either.
Yeah.
My face is on there, but it's not my book. It's my kid's book.
Gotcha. That's
So
always
we'll
a good
see.
thing. That's a good thing when you got a handler or somebody to handle that stuff for you. That's good. Okay, here
I
we
don't
go.
think I'm popular enough for a handler, so I not yet. I still, it's my daughter, and she puts her hand out. It's not about handler. If
Okay.
she's my handler, she's always putting her hand out for me to put money in it. So that's about the extent of handler I have.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Riz. You know what Riz means?
Riz? No.
Rizz.
Is that like what happens with your hair when it gets all wet and it kind of rizzes up?
It's short or it's slang for charisma. If you got the Riz, it's basically saying, you got the it factor, man.
Listen, I guess I don't have the Riz.
Okay. Okay, so he's 0 for 1. How about no cap? If somebody says they're talking to you and they make a statement and then they say no cap after the statement, what are they saying?
I have no idea.
Ooh, 0 for 2. That no cap means like no lie, like I'm telling the truth. So when they say, "Man, did you see Jersey Joe on the What Is Up podcast? It was awesome." No cap.
We don't say off the hook anymore.
Ooh, I think off the hook and off the chain. I think that died a while ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It went bell bottoms, I guess.
I think I kind of remember that a little after my high school days.
I think I'm getting up there in the years now, and you got to understand the crowd that I hang out with is very off the grid. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, if you got 20 somethings that you can converse with in your IT world, you'd probably hear some of these in their
gotcha.
lingo. But if you're not conversing with those people, you're not hearing any of this stuff. Okay, let's do Sigma. You ever heard Sigma?
Yeah, in college.
Okay, you're thinking Greek, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No. So this is slang. So Sigma actually has some sort of another meaning today.
Sigma, huh?
Yeah.
Um, Stigma. I don't know. The way you present yourself. I don't know.
Well, now you're getting there. Sigma means you're like top dog. So if you're
Uh,
Sigma, if you're, I don't know how to relate it to you. Let's say, Phil, when it come to duck hunting, Sigma. Sigma.
okay.
Um,
Not the goat. We don't say the goat no more.
no, you could say the goat. That's
Okay.
true. But this word itself is different. And then the opposite of Sigma, who's one of the young boys that's the absolute worst in the duck blind? Who's one of the duck boys that you would say has got a long way to go? Or
I
can you
can't.
not say that?
I can't. I don't know if they'll get a hold of this at some point, so
Okay.
I need to protect my interests.
It's
So
all
I
in
will
good
say
fun.
that they're all good young men who are godly and learning the trait very well, we'll say.
Okay.
If you ask Jace, I'm still a duck intern, so I'm not even
Okay.
considered duck man yet. So
Oh,
yeah,
all right. So
so
basically, we would take the worst person who has the least amount of skills, and we'd say he's beta.
he's
So
beta.
Sigma means, you're up here, you're Phil. Beta would be that young son-in-law that it's his first time in the duck blind. So,
Okay.
all right, let's throw a couple more out there. Oh boy. Gyat. Have you ever heard of gyat?
I've heard of gat, and now that's Italian, and that means a gun. Gat. I'm gonna
Okay.
get my gat out.
Yep.
Um,
That's
that's
what it
about
meant.
it.
That's what it meant in our day.
Yeah.
They have changed it. Now it's Gyatt. Gyat. And it means like a woman's rear end is
Oh,
her gat. Yep.
cool.
Went from gun to a rear end. All right. Let's do
That could get me in trouble, but now when I'm driving down the road with the wife and I kind of see that scantily dressed woman, I just go, "Look at that Giat," and she'll have no idea what I'm talking about.
yeah, she won't. But your
Love
daughter
it.
will. Your daughter will.
I'll make sure I'm alone.
All right. Last one. Sus.
That means you're suspect.
There we go. We had to get
That
you
I
moving.
hear. I hear that. I hear that from Stone's younger daughter, BK. She says sus sometimes.
Yeah. If you're not
Took a
quite
while to
sure.
figure out what that was. She said, Jersey, you're a little sus. I'm like, about what? I don't know. There's just something about you. I'm like, okay.
All right.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
All right. Well, here's one I'll put you right on the spot then. As open as everybody was about last Thanksgiving, and maybe you didn't try it, but
Oh, I know where you're going. I know
duck
where
and
you're going.
dressing,
Well,
was it sus or was it Was it
Listen,
actually good?
when you've had Phil's duck and dressing and someone tries to replicate it, you can never replicate it the way Phil made it.
Sure.
You can try, you can be a poser and try, but I will say that, as Phil says, it was edible.
Okay.
It was edible.
But do you have faith that this year, if Al gives it a try again, you think he's gonna?
Yeah, because he'll probably have a little bit more time to let it kind of sit. The
Okay.
problem was it was like soup. It was duck soup.
Okay.
It wasn't duck dressing. It was duck soup with a couple of I guess he had green wing teal sitting on top of it. So it was like green wing teal soup. You have fills and then you have that. You're like, It's edible though. It was edible. It was good. So I think he'll get better with trying, and we'll just have to see.
Okay. I'm pulling for you, Al. I really am. I think you're gonna nail it this year. But all right, let's go to the do-over segment. Now, this one you said, yeah, let's do this one, but you
Yeah.
had a different spin on it. Usually my guess, this is a chance like, man, if there was something in life you could go back and get a second try at, you would do differently, or you would do better, or something like that, whether it's dunking in a basketball game or who knows what. You said, no, 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 no. I got something better for this. Explain to me your spin on the do-over.
Yes, I mean everybody's talking about do-overs, right? Everybody's talking about. So interestingly enough, right? So I'm driving to the church on Sunday before I preach, and I saw this sign on the side of the road, Bill. But first of all, for those of you that don't know Louisiana, you will know when you're in Louisiana when every other billboard that you see down the road is about a lawyer, because the lawyers in Louisiana love to advertise on billboards. I don't know what it is, but it's like, you can't go 5 feet without touching a lawyer in Louisiana. They're everywhere. But anyway, this was a sign about bankruptcy, and at the bottom of the sign it says it's not the end, it's a new beginning. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that is biblical, and they don't know what they're talking about. Here they go again when I say they, right? Here's the public taking something that's biblical and relating it to, their needs, right? Like Hollywood does all the time, right? You always hear all these biblical terms that come from the Bible, but they do it in their own Hollywood way.
Yep.
Listen, there isn't anything that I did in life that I regret now, because I already had the ultimate do-over. I was baptized and reborn. When you take that plunge, when you go down in that water, every mistake, every sin, everything you've ever done wrong in your life is erased, forgotten. You come up out of that water a brand new reborn you, with the armor of God, ready to face anything that comes your way. So that's the ultimate do-over.
Yeah.
So why would you want any other do-over? That's it. Because then once you're saved, make a mistake, because we're all sinners. We said that before. You just repent and you
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
it. So, if you are a true believer, you don't have to worry about a do-over, because you already got it.
You
You
already
got
got it.
you got a biblical do-over.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I like when the preacher or whoever is doing the baptism, when they get the words right, when it's meaningful, when you can understand it, and it's usually something along the lines of, buried with Christ into death or into baptism. You know what I mean? And you're going
Yeah.
under. You're symbolizing. I'm putting
You're
my old self.
reenacting. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
a reenactment. You are reenacting what Jesus did for you.
yeah.
That's what it is,
It is. It is.
So
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Good stuff. All right, let's go to the getting to know you segment. Now, these are going to be just a handful of questions here, and we'll see how you do. If you
All
had
right, we'll see.
if you had
We'll see.
theme music, we already know, okay, you're into the Italian stallion. I'm with
Well,
you.
you figured it out. Dun, 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 dun,
If you
dun.
had theme music, is that what if when you enter a
Yeah,
room, if it played, is that what it is? Ah,
absolutely. Dun, 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 dun.
ah.
Come on now. Dun, 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 dun. I'm the Italian stallion. I'm the Italian preacher.
I still say one of the best all-time soundtracks, Rocky 4. Rocky 4, all the different songs. It may not have the OG Rocky 1 music, the theme music, but wow, if you want to work out, if you want to get pumped up, throw on the Rocky 4 soundtrack. Man, you'll be ready to go over and fight Russia yourself.
I mean, I to be honest with you too, there's probably another song too, like Simple Man. You ever hear
Oh
that
yeah,
song? Simple
yeah.
Man? I mean, it's a great song.
Oh, it
It's
is.
actually Phil's favorite song. He would make me play it for him every time we were driving back from church. He never knew the name of it. He would just say, "Hey, Jersey, play that song."
Yeah.
And it was the acoustic version that I had of it,
Oh,
and I would play it, and he would just like go into another world when I
yeah.
played that. And it is a great song. You got to really listen to the lyrics of that
Yeah.
song. It is sort of like the life that I have here. It's a simple life. Just love God, love your family, love your parents, and live a clean, simple
Yep.
life. And be happy, and you will be blessed.
Yep. I tell you what I'll do for you on your when your episode drops. So before people get this far, I'm going to take that song. If it's in the Instagram playlist, the post of the day of your episode dropping, that'll be the background music to whatever picture I choose. We're going to have that playing because Instagram, somehow you can do that. You can play copyrighted music on
Oh
social
yeah.
media. But if I were to try and like include a clip of that here, we'd get
Yeah,
a copyright strike. So,
Google. Yeah, Google buying
but
copyright.
that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have that song playing in the background of your episode post for sure. So, all
Good
right,
deal.
let's go favorite movies. Aside from the Rocky series, you already come clean on that one, so we know Rockies are all up there. Besides that, what do you got? What else do you like?
I mean, I'm into all of the mobster movies,
Okay.
Casino, Godfather,
Yeah.
um, you know,
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. But Al Pacino, he's definitely got to be the dude. So you look
Okay.
at a lot of Al Pacino movies. That other nut job that I'm not even going to bother saying his name. He's embarrassed himself because I mean, I
Yeah.
even heard he made a. Like, all right, well, we'll say it. De Niro made a new movie, but it tanked because he's such an idiot out there running his mouth. No one cares. And that's what it is, right? When I watch a movie, I'm in fantasy land because that's what it is for me. It's a fantasy, and that's all it is. And I enjoy old time mobster type movies
Yeah.
it basically built this country. I mean, when you think about it, in the Prohibition time, you had a lot of runners and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You had mob influence there. So, like when you talk about series and stuff like The Sopranos, as much as they insulted the Italian background, it's still a good series, and it's just because I think what draws me to it, it's tough, strong men who have a code that they live by.
Yeah.
And whether it's an evil code or a good code, they still live by that code and they die by that code.
Yeah.
And it's almost like being a believer, right? You live by the code of the Bible as a believer, and you will live by it and you will die by it. So I envy people who stand up for what they believe in and don't let anybody talk them down and change their minds. And they believe what they believe and they do what they do, and that's it. And I envy them.
Sure.
So that's the kind of movies I like, right? I don't like all these futuristic movies and all the goofy, impossible things that would like never happen.
Okay.
See Mission Impossible where the dude smashes into something, he flies at it, flies through the windshield, spins around on the ground 35 times, gets back up, and only hurt his arm. I mean, that's ridiculous. You'd be dead.
Yeah. Nope. I know exactly what you mean. Okay. Uh, moving right into the next question. Any near-death experiences?
Many,
Many.
many.
Okay. Give me
Well,
one.
when you think about it, 29 years in the fire service.
Sure.
Firefighter, the firefighting industry basically has now surpassed the death rate of someone like what do they call those arborers or the people like that go and cut down trees in the woods
Okay.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess they're arborers, right? But that used to be the most deadly job, and now recently it came out that firefighting is because it's not only the act of fighting the fire and the danger of fighting the fire, it's the after effects of what you're breathing in, all those
Okay.
carcinogens and everything when the fire's over. I mean, you talk about near-death experiences. I mean, I was in a building that exploded right in front of my face when I was 22 years old. We had a metal company that was smelting metal in town, and what they were doing, they were smelting magnesium. So magnesium is smelted in a steel pot that is double walled, and in between the two walls is water that cools it to keep it at a certain temperature. Because if it gets too hot, it'll flash. It's not get hot enough, it's not going to get viscous enough to melt down. So what had happened was the cooling system for the pots went down and the fires got too hot and it actually cracked the pots. And when the pots cracked, the water reached the magnesium, and water and magnesium do not mix. And we got called for the fire that hadn't happened yet. They had a burner that was out of control and they couldn't shut it down. So we get there, and it was a two-man crew, myself and another guy. I was just a lieutenant at that point. This was so long ago. We walked into the building, and I saw the pot burning. And as soon as I saw the pot burning and I saw the intense heat, or felt the intense heat through my gear, I knew it was too hot and there was nothing we could do, because you can't put water on magnesium. You have to cool it with chemicals. You can't fight it with water. So I immediately ordered back out. So we backed out, and no sooner did we get through the threshold of the garage door and turn around, you heard this loud hissing noise. The pot had cracked and it exploded. And when it exploded, it sent the pot 250 feet in the air and blew the building up. I mean, the building blew up with explosions. They got pictures of people running during the explosion. It was just so major.
Wow.
You talk about near death. If it was 3 minutes the other way around, I would have been inside there when it blew up, and that would have been it. And,
Yeah.
that was just one of many different situations firefighters find themselves in. That's why it's a job that, we need to respect the citizens, and we need to, respect our firefighters, first responders, EMTs, military, all of them. They're all on the front lines, and they leave in the morning and they may not come home.
Yeah.
I mean, the job that I do now, I get up from my bedroom, I go have my coffee, I go out to my office, and I sign onto my computer. The most dangerous part of that job is walking from my house to my office. I could trip on a tree stump.
Yeah.
That's the most dangerous part. When you look at what our police do, our military, our firefighters, they're in it every day. They're seeing this every single day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you see someone in uniform, just give them a thank you for sure, because they're serving us, whether it's, like you said, police department, fire department, EMS, military, you know what I mean? And you don't know what they're dealing with, the kind of trauma that you got to deal with.
It's a hard job.
It's
It
not
is a hard
over when you go home. It
No.
starts the next
And
day.
that's another reason why I do in my ministry what I do, right? I mean, you never forget the things that you've seen.
Yeah.
Can't unremember those things. They're always there, and they're always dragging down on you. And it's my faith that keeps me going, that gets me over it, you know.
Yep.
And it's not only is it you got a high suicide rate, a high depression rate, anxiety. It all comes along with being a first responder and being in the military. The things that they see, human beings are not meant to see.
Right.
And that's what the general public is shielded from. They don't know. A fire breaks out, you run. The firefighters run to it. You're running away from it. And they go in there, and they're the ones that are putting their lives on the line for people they don't even know.
Yep.
So I mean, we don't give them enough respect. We really don't. But
Right.
that's a whole nother podcast.
Sure. Yeah, we'll get into some of that if you guys missed it. Joe already said he'd like to come back, and we agreed to do an episode around 9/11 and what it was like for him working in that field at that time. And we're gonna pay some respect and do that episode then, kind of as a tribute, and maybe open some eyes as well. So we'll get into that when the time's right. So
Yeah.
all right, man. How about this one? If you could delete one thing from the world, just with the stroke of a key, you're the IT guy, you're the tech guy. You could just hit delete, and one thing in the world is gone for good. What would it be?
As much as I hate to say it because I'm on all of it, I think it would be social media and the way that we interact, because our children today are brought up on iPads and iPhones.
Yeah.
The parenting aspect is not there anymore. And that's why we have a lot of the problems that we have with these younger generation, because parents aren't being parents anymore. You're driving on that long road to go to grandmom's house that's an hour away, what's the first thing you do? You toss them an iPad, you toss them an iPhone so they can play a game, or they're going on social media and they're doing this and they're that. Every young person I see has their face on their phone.
Yeah.
They don't know how to talk to people anymore. We don't know how to. I met my wife in the firehouse. She walked in one day. She was doing finals. My brother was a friend of hers, and my brother was joining the fire service. So he brought her down to the firehouse, and that was how I met her. And we actually get this. We actually had a face-to-face conversation.
Right. Yeah.
That was how we met each other. Hey, how are you? Now they're looking on Insta Snap and Grandma Slap and slap your mama, papa, whatever. And they, oh, I like this guy. Let me swipe this way. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
like this one. I'll swipe the other way. And then they start chatting. There's no interaction at the human being level, which is what you need. These devices are making us more and more dependent. And with
Right.
AI, with the explosion of AI, it's going to get even worse.
Right.
I'm very scared about what AI is going to do to our children. Yes, it's going to make society better from a health perspective, from a shopping perspective, and just a general doing business perspective. It's going to be great. But as far as what it's going to do to our children, that's what I worry about.
Right.
Because, these models are going to be trained by people who maybe don't think the way I think. And, the language models that are developed for AI are only as good as the data that it has. And that data gets put there from somebody somewhere. And if it's all data that is, inconsistent with what you believe, it's going to be detrimental to you and
Right.
your family. So, I mean, that's what worries me.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I got a theory, man. I think enough of us are going to realize in order to move forward, we kind of need to move back a little bit.
Oh, I like that.
I think you're kind of
That's
seeing
great.
that in
That
education.
needs to be on a shirt. As Jace would say, that needs to be on a shirt.
Been saying it for years. I lead kids ministry at our church. Been doing it since like 2001, and that was my training ground for doing little devotions and things like that. As I've been telling them, yeah, as we get more and more technologically advanced, and you start to see communication skills go down, it's like we're afraid to let our kids be bored anymore.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
sometimes that's just necessary.
We
So,
don't want to be parents. When
right.
I was a kid, I'd come home from school. My dad would say, "Go out, play. I don't want to see you till the streetlights come on."
Yep.
You can't do that nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. Set the pitcher of Kool-Aid out on the steps and say, see you later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yep, that's a whole nother episode. But I think we're seeing a little bit of a shift in education and things. I've been talking to a lady that left public teaching to start her own one-room schoolhouse where it can be kind of Bible-centered, where you
I love it.
teach, and it's so good. You guys check her out. It's Virginia's one-room red schoolhouse. Her name's Danita, and she is just a firecracker, man. She's getting after it. Hers is so successful that now she has done nothing but seminars and classes to help anyone in any part of the country start their own one-room schoolhouse.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. Okay, let's get to the most sentimental question and the last one in the getting to know you segment. I had the pleasure of seeing your wife right before we hit record and being introduced to her. So I'm going to ask you, what is one thing that you love or appreciate about your spouse?
That she loves me no matter what.
Ah, that's good.
Unconditional love, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, 99% of the time, no matter how wrong I am, even though I think I'm right, she still loves me.
Ah,
Even though sometimes I make her cry, make her sad, she is the rock. There was a reason why God created Eve. I mean, man needs a
oh,
companion.
we need him. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, as much as she drives me crazy, I love her to death. And, she deals with all of my goofy ideas and centers me and tells me when, hey, that's stupid. And even though I argue with her, come to find out she was right.
Oh man. To be honest, I hate that part. I hate
I
that.
know. It
It's nice
drives me
to know
nuts.
that they're right and that they're with us, but man, it could be anything from we misplaced the remote to I loaned this to somebody and I'm just for sure I got it right. And Sarah's
Mhm.
like, no, I don't think so. I don't think. And then they're right, and you just got to swallow it.
They
But
never let you forget it either.
no, well, and here's the other thing. We don't need to get too deep on it, but you and me spent a lot of time talking about in your part one that man, just the world tells you here's a way to do life. here's one way to do life, and we're on top, we're in control, we're going to do it our way, and these are the things that are important: money, fame, value, happiness, our feelings, all these things. When it comes to marriage, what you just said right there, and that's, I've done some pre-marriage counseling. I'm a big believer in get counseling before you're in trouble. Why not?
Yeah.
If you're gonna do marriage, it was God's idea. Why not find out how He wants you to do it? And it is clear in there, man. It is not about your happiness and your feelings. It's not, because you're gonna get hurt, and you're
No.
gonna hurt them. It's gonna happen at some point. If that's your train of thought, the grass is going to look greener on the other side, and that's how we get the Hollywood version of marriage. You do it as long as you can. You fall in love, and when it's just not good anymore, then you cut bait and you start over, and hopefully you got the right person. We're all sinners. We're all messed up. Here's the deal: the Bible tells us, man, you sacrifice for the other one. You put their needs first, and if you put God in the center. And I'm not a big fan of pyramid schemes, but man, think of it as a pyramid. If God is at the top, if He's in the center, and you both are sacrificing for each other and trying to grow closer to God, what happens as you get closer to God? You're getting closer to each other. And it's about them, not you. And you're going to be
And
able
when
to
you
get
look
through
at the,
anything.
yeah, I mean, and when you look at, and when you look at the Bible and you look at some of the verses, right, and you talk about, the narrow road and the wide road, right?
Yep.
That's a reference that I love, the narrow road, wide
Yeah.
road. And then you talk about love, right? In order for you to be able to love anyone else in your life, you have to love Jesus first. God needs to come first in everything that you do. You will never understand the love that God had for you. He gave His only Son to die for you. Can you imagine one of your children has to die for the world? Are you willing to do that? No, I can't do that. That's a love that someone has for me that I can't possibly understand. So that's why the Bible tells us that you need to love Jesus first before you can possibly understand love at all.
Yeah.
So if you're together, you say, I love my wife, and you're not a believer, you don't know what love is,
Yeah.
because you don't understand the love that Jesus had for you to die for you. And then you talk about the narrow road and the wide road, right? The Bible references it many different ways. The wide gate,
Yeah.
narrow gate, wide road, narrow road. That narrow road is the road to heaven. That's when you're a believer and you're on that narrow road. Why is it narrow? Because not many people are on it. Why is there a wide road to hell? I call that the highway to hell. And
Yeah.
it is the Autobahn, baby. It is clean, smooth,
Yeah.
no road bumps, nothing. I mean, just smooth running right to hell. Now, that narrow road, it's like a Louisiana back road, baby. It is very narrow. It has speed bumps, potholes like you wouldn't believe. You sink half your truck in it if you hit it. Because why? Because God says it's not going to be easy to follow me. People will persecute you because
Yeah.
of what you believe. You need to stand strong and have faith.
Yep.
Faith is what keeps us all together. So that narrow road is rough. The road of marriage is rough. You have two people that are getting together that have two different philosophies in life, whether you want to admit it or not. She thinks differently than you do because she's a female.
Yeah.
Females were wired in a way to be opposite of males. They think differently. Men are out there. We're strong. We're hunters, gatherers. Females, they just are so sensitive and get worked up over the littlest things that you're like, what are you crying about? Oh, it was such a sad scene in that movie. It's a movie. It's fake. It doesn't matter. But they're just sensitive, and that's the way women are, and men are different, and
Yeah.
it just is what it is. And I just embrace it. I love it. It's great that I have Al and Lisa in our lives, because Al and Lisa are great counsels when it comes to that. They've been through some rough times with their marriage, but they stand strong, believe in the Lord, love the Lord, and they're great people to be around. And you learn so much from them. And I try to instill that to couples when I talk to other couples about marriage. I have married a few people, and I tell them, this is hard. I married my daughter, and I said to my son-in-law, I said, she's your problem now, dude. And I said, it's not going to be easy. And he looked at me. I said, marriage is hard. I said, but your faith in the Lord is what's going to get you through
Right.
it,
Yep.
period.
Yep.
And that's why your love for God needs to be stronger than any love for any human being you have.
Yep. Yep. And because it says, love, gentlemen, men, love your wives like Christ loved the church. If you, like you said, if you don't have an understanding of that,
Yep.
it's going to be a long road, and you're probably not going to make it.
You're
So,
not. You're
Man,
not.
I like it. Good. That's
We're getting deep
free
again.
free advice here from Joe and Bubba. But you can actually catch Joe every Sunday, 9 a.m., Whites Ferry Road, Unashamed Bible Study. You can get that stuff. So that wraps up the getting to know you segment. We're going to move into the what is up segment. We're going to hit the current events pretty hard right now. One of the biggest things I think we're starting to see, things level off and we're starting to get to the resolving of the issue. But man, Trump stirred up a lot of stuff with his beautiful word tariff. Uh, what's your take on that? How it upset the market? What he was trying to accomplish with that? Because we're seeing deals coming in now. So
Oh yeah.
you're in this world, right? You've got a lot of experience with markets.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to be. I was a stockbroker before I got into IT. Just out of college, I
Okay.
was working for a capital management company. So I was working on a trading desk, and I kind of understand a lot of this, right? And I'm going to
Good.
tell you right now, 90% of what happened was overreaction, and it was overreaction because the left is just like always screaming that he's wrong. He's going to do this. He's going to take grandmom's Medicaid away. He's going to, the people are going to die. I mean, they're always looking at the worst case scenario for everything.
Okay.
It's very simple, right? This country is being ripped off, even to this day, still, even with the tariffs that are in place. We're taken advantage of. We're ripped off. We are. I mean, think about it. You look what happened with Russia. Okay, you know, they invade Ukraine, and what do? We immediately start giving them money,
Mm-hmm.
not asking for any of it back. We're just going to give it to them. We're going to give them billions and billions and billions of dollars to fight the war that's over there. And I understand, it's Europe. It could go further, and we could get other countries involved, and
Yeah.
potentially World War III. I understand that we can't just go and put our military on the ground and do that. I get all that, right? But listen, when you look at reality, that war started because we had a weak president who was not respected. And the reason that he wasn't respected was because he didn't know what was going on. Biden had no clue what was going on. And fuel prices went up so high, Russia was making billions and billions of dollars on fuel. Well, they were able to spend it on all these weapons in order to take back what they want. They wanted Ukraine back. They
Yeah.
want more
Yeah.
territory. That's what they're all about. And we had a pushover president who says, "Oh, well, we're gonna help Ukraine." Yeah, I get it. We're gonna help people, but we can't just give money and continue to give money
Right.
and not expect a return on that money. What's your return on that money? Oh, well, it'll calm things. Now, what's your return? Tell them we'll give you some money, but you got to give us something back. So when you start looking at the tariffs, right? Our intellectual property, take China, for instance, right? We come up from a technical standpoint, technology we created in this country. We have some of the smartest data scientists, some of
Yeah.
the smartest IT. We build, we come up with the background to build all of this state-of-the-art technology. That's why our military is so feared, because it has state-of-the-art technology that we've developed.
Yeah.
And then we give it to other countries sometimes, right? And then China steals it. China steals all of the intellectual property and then turns around and sells it back to us at a super high rate.
Hmm.
And they'll take an iPhone configuration, right? The guts of an iPhone, they'll take it apart over there, and then they'll redesign it in their way, and they'll put a different name on it, and then they end up selling it back to us. But it's our technology. But they find ways to do it, and they're sneaky. They're very sneaky in what they do. So Trump said, "Listen, this has to stop. We want level playing ground, right? You
Mhm.
look, I mean, you talk about everybody. I see these things on Facebook, right, where they're talking about, China. It's not China's fault that we brought our jobs over there. It's the billionaires who were greedy. Well, that's true. The billionaires did get greedy. Back when Clinton was president, they got greedy. And they said, you know what? If we take these American jobs where we're unionized and they're paying them 30, $40 an hour, we can do the same thing for slave labor over in China for
Yeah.
$5 an hour. Let's do it. And then turn around after we make that thing, we'll turn around and we'll sell it back to the US and we'll charge them a tariff to buy it from us. And we paid it.
Yeah.
And then they charge tariffs to our companies who are selling stuff
And
overseas. So
yeah.
it's not just China, it's China, India, the EU. They all have tariffs. Tariffs have been around forever.
Yeah.
And, these countries, these smaller countries, they make money off of tariffs. You take something that you build here in this country and you sell it over in England, they'll charge you a 50% tariff on it when they sell it. So they're making 50% on simply just being the middleman.
Mhm.
And that's what it's all about. And Trump says that, well, that's unfair. And I agree with him totally. It's absolutely ridiculous. So all Trump said was, listen, we're going to make this a level playing field. You tariff us, we're going to tariff you. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you can actually make money off of that tariff to help pay off some of your debt that you have in this country. There's nothing wrong with tariffs if they're reciprocal, right? So if they're going to charge me over there 10% on it, I'm going to charge it over here 10% when that product comes over here from over there. So I'm going to make 10% just like you're going to make 10%, and I'm going to take that money and I'm going to use it to pay off debt. That makes sense. It's reciprocal tariffs. It makes perfect sense. But these left wingers that believe in just giving things away have no problem with the fact that, I mean, look at medications. Do you
Mhm.
know, you saw it during COVID, right? China's making medications that we take, heartburn medication, cholesterol medication, blood pressure medication. That we get the ingredients and some of the stuff from China. In some cases, it's made over there.
Yeah.
If we have an all-out war, God forbid, with that country,
We're in
they
trouble.
cut us off. We can't make anything because we've sent all of our steel overseas. We get this cheap China steel to build our buildings because American builders, I'm a businessman. I just want to build a building in Manhattan, right? And say if I were to use steel made in Pennsylvania, it's going to cost me $3 million for the steel to build this building from Pennsylvania, but I can get steel made over that's inferior. I'll get it made over in China and it's for 200,000. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
You're right.
Of course, they're going to do that. So, in order for Trump to not only make the playing field level, he also wants to make us more self-sufficient with these tariffs. And that's what it's going to do because it's encouraging already businesses to reinvest in this country. Critical business,
Mhm.
medications being made, steel industry, the automobile industry. I mean, he's setting it up to be a level playing field. Is there going to be hurt by the tariffs? Yeah, in the beginning there was. You
Short
saw,
term.
but they all overreacted. And I told all my friends, Jace is a big stock trader. Him and I, we talk a lot.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you buying this dip? And I bought a bunch on the dip because I knew it was such a major overreaction.
Yeah.
Historically, if you look at the stock market from the very beginning to where we're at now, you see a continued upward trend. There's drops. You had the Great Depression, you had the 2009 housing. You see
Yep.
these drops, but it always recovers and it always continues that upward spin. That's why it's so good for retirement. The problem is people overreact and they listen to the media, particularly the left wing media, that starts going crazy about, oh, Hitler's doing this now. Hitler's going to destroy this country. We're going to go into a recession because of these tariffs. No, we're not. People still need to buy this stuff. It's
Yeah.
still going to be bought. And what it's going to do is it's going to encourage business to build here to get us out of that. Trump is a smart businessman. His mouth is much mightier than his pen.
Okay.
And what I mean by, in order to bring somebody to the table, you scare the crap out of them. You tell them the most worst case scenario, and they freak out. And they're going to run to the table. And then you're going to ultimately end up with what you wanted, which was simply reciprocal trade.
Yeah.
That's
Fair
all we
deals.
want.
Yeah.
That's all we want. We just want fairness
Right.
because this country is going to explode. The economy before, Trump's economy before 2020, when COVID hit, was on the biggest upswing you've ever seen. Fuel
Yeah.
prices, we almost had diesel and gas at the same price, and it was like $1.50 a gallon. I mean, it was absolutely crazy to think that it was that well. But and food was cheap, and the dollar store was actually the dollar store.
Yeah.
You could actually go in there, the 99-cent store, and buy something for 99 cents. But COVID hit and it just totally imploded what Trump was trying to do.
Yeah.
He was right on COVID. He said it came from China. They all freaked out. No, 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 no. Politically correct. No, no, no. That's not true. Listen, it all came out. It was
Yeah.
from China. It happened there. We were doing this gain of research function training
Yeah.
or testing that is just, they're trying to play God in what they're doing. They're manipulating viruses and everything else. And it's just stuff we shouldn't be messing with.
Right.
But they do it and they did it and they had a problem and a leak. And now you got half the population sicker than can sick. Millions of people died. It was horrible. But it imploded the economy that Trump built. So then we get Biden, who wins on that, who wins on fear,
Right.
okay, and cheating, in my opinion, but that's just mine. And now, well, come on. How was it a fair election? We had drop boxes all over the place.
There was
You
a
want
lot of
to
weird stuff happen.
watch that? What is it? 1,000 Mules or something?
Yeah.
Watch that movie. And it's amazing. They had video proof of the stuff that was going on. Absolutely absurd. But anyway, so now we got 4 years of let's just spend, 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 spend. And what they did was they just basically inflated the economy with government money, which raised the stock market. All of the stock market rise in Biden's term was due to big government spending. That's
Okay.
really what caused it. It's because the government was spending money that it didn't have, and it inflated the stock market. So now when these tariffs come out, everybody starts freaking out and they just start selling. The worst thing you can do is sell during a downturn. You're going to have
Right.
downturns.
Yep.
Tomorrow you could have a major downturn. You get bad news, you have a downturn. That's a buying opportunity. The market is not going to go away unless the world implodes, unless God comes down and says, "Here I am." Jesus returns like he said he was going to. If that happens tomorrow, that's a whole nother story. But I'm telling you right now, the market's going to be here. So selling was the worst mistake because, as you can see, it recovered because we
Recovered.
started making deals. Because what Trump tried to do was bring everybody to the table, and that's all he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But in Trump's way, with his mouth, like I said, his mouth is bigger than his pen, mightier than his pen. He's got that big mouth. He's got that attitude where he's just going to say, "I'll slap 145% tariff on you." Let me tell you something. China's economy can't handle that.
Right.
They had ships turned around. China was on the verge of bankruptcy. They had no choice. They had to come to the table. And he's smart enough to know that. And a lot of these money managers are smart enough to know that. That's why they were all buying because they knew that it was going to turn around. And it
Right.
did. And it's going to continue to skyrocket from here.
Right.
I mean, there's tomorrow is bright as long as we can continue with common sense governing. I mean, you have to. You can't continue the liberal way of DEI and let's care about everybody's feelings. Let's put everybody on welfare. Let's just have a big socialist society. It's not going to happen. Socialism doesn't work. It's been proven time and time again.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You're not going to raise your poor out of the poor. Your rich are going to stay rich. Socialism does not work. That's my spiel on tariffs.
Okay.
There's something that we need to do in order to reset the playing field. I mean, it's only fair. You look, how many Fords and GMCs and Chevys and Pontiacs are driving around in the EU or in China?
China. China is zero.
Nothing.
Right.
Why? Because they have like 100% tariff on them.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. So Trump's like, listen, we take your cars. We got your Hyundais, your Yugos. We got them from Japan. We got them from China. We had Toyotas, this, that. We got them from all these other countries. No tariffs. U.S. doesn't charge the tariffs on them
Right.
because they say it hurts the citizen. Well, you know what? Maybe it does. But you know what? If the tariff's too high, you just don't buy it and you buy American made
Buy something out. Yep. Yeah.
because there's no tariff on American made.
Right.
And now what he's going to do with being able to deduct the interest that you pay on an auto loan on an American built vehicle, that's a no-brainer too. That's going to be great for the economy.
Yeah.
You're going to see companies like Ford and GM really take off. And those are the companies that we need because God forbid, if you remember World War One, World War Two, who was building our tanks? Who was building our airplanes? Ford was building airplanes.
Yeah.
You know, Dodge was building Jeeps for the military. You know, we totally retool and we're able to take off and defend ourselves and do what we need to do. But we've fractured that now, and we've become so dependent on foreign nations that we can't take care of our own
Right.
because we worry about what's coming on car. We don't even make toilet paper here. I mean, come on. Come on. I
I
mean,
thought
it's
we did
ridiculous.
make toilet paper here.
We do. I'm
Okay.
just, it's
Okay.
just,
No, I
but
got
there
you.
is toilet paper, tissues, napkins, things like that. A lot of it's imported. We do make it here, but a lot of it's imported. The cheaper brands, the off brands that most Americans buy because they can't afford the puffy, soft stuff. They're
Yeah.
just buying regular toilet paper. It's coming from overseas.
Right.
So, I mean, it's crazy how dependent we've become on
Right.
other countries. And the
I
tariffs mainly should help that.
Right. And I think we're seeing that. I'm no genius, but talking to guys like you or guys who are, lifelong United Auto workers and people like that, or even the UAW president, who is a big Kamala Harris supporter in the election, he said this is the best thing ever. We've
Yeah.
got to get these things leveled so they're fair. We can't just have free trade because we get taken advantage of. It's got to be
Mhm.
fair trade. And if you have any critical thinking skills, everyone who knew anything seemed to be telling me there's going to be some short-term pain,
Yep.
ride it out. And here it is. I mean, we're not even into summer yet, and the market has already like rallied a couple times and fully recovered back to like last November's
Yeah.
levels. So everything that dipped and dipped and dipped has already come roaring right back. So, and we still got more deals coming in, and
Yep.
Trump's traveling and doing all these, deals overseas and all that good stuff. So I like hearing people who understand the markets and things like that. And I just think that more of that information needs to be getting out there, because I feel like when we talk about media, if so much of it is skewed one way, well, there's a lot of people that only consume that media. And so they have no idea that we've been getting ripped off. They just know things were somewhat stable and then the market dipped, and so it's got to be bad. And it's like, well, I don't know. I talk to people who are left leaning, but they understand the markets and they understand trade, and they say this is a good thing. So I go back to, hey, you got a head on your shoulders for a reason. Use it. Think critically. It doesn't matter where you live, where you work, the color of your skin. That doesn't determine, you don't have to think a certain way because of any of those things. Everybody can think differently. So think
The
critically.
problem is legacy media is dead, and we need to realize that.
Yeah.
When you have supposed quote unquote journalists that are just simply giving you their opinion. Well, they're not
That's
journalists
not
anymore.
journalism.
They're commentators, and
Yeah.
that's all they are. And that's the problem. Your major media networks have become all commentators, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're not giving you the true news. It's always leaning in their way.
Right.
And that's what aggravates the crap out of me because you're right. Their mom and dad who are just sitting home who don't have the internet are watching ABC, NBC, and they think they get this vision of the world that is what the commentator of the liberal media wants them to hear.
Yeah.
They're
That's
not hearing the true story like you would hear from a podcast that is from an independent journalist. And
yeah.
that's what I think you're going to see a change in society with the way information technology blows up. I think you're going to start to see more and more of these independent journalists step up and stand out and actually, give you the
Sure.
real news because
Sure.
that's really what we want. We just want the news. Don't decide for me. Let me decide, right? Tell me
Absolutely.
what's what and I'll decide.
There you go. Same thing with education and school. Don't tell the kids what to think. Teach them how to think. That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
Absolutely right.
All right. Good stuff. Let me hit you with this last one, and then we'll get out of here. We're pushing at an hour right now. One of the other craziest things, and I want to get your take on it, was during the campaign, the assassination attempt on
Mhm.
President Trump in Pennsylvania. You were on Phil's security team. You have almost 30 years in a service industry. You understand this stuff. I'm a complete amateur when it comes to that, but I knew the information that came out as far as how it took place, where the guy was posted, why we didn't have people in play, all these things. None of it made sense. I'm pretty sure the head of the Secret Service got fired over the deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's your take on that? Was the craziest thing ever when I finally saw a visual of where the shooter was, why we didn't have that building secure, why we didn't have our own counter. I just got to get your take on it because it was crazy. It was crazy.
First of all, whether you're left leaning, right leaning, centrist, whatever, assassination is never
No,
the answer.
no, nope.
You know,
Horrible.
I mean, but the problem is in this society, we have such big mouths on both sides that young people who are impressionable hear
Hmm.
these things, hear the rhetoric, and overreact because of all the video games that they see and all of the other shootings that they see, the
Hmm.
school shootings, the casino shooting, and all of that. They see all that, and it's so gripping to watch on TV because the news is right there. They see all that, and they think that, oh well, I want to do that. I want to get my claim to fame, and I'm going to do that. And they said that Trump is Hitler and Trump is this and Trump is that. So I'm going to do them all a favor and take him out. I mean, even today, I'm listening to the news, and this Comey, who was the head of the FBI, who's got probably 40, 50 years
Yeah.
in service as a police officer, FBI agent, so on and so on.
Hmm.
And he says, and he puts that picture up, 8647. Listen, you talked earlier in that last podcast, we talked about the slang words and what the kids, everybody knows what 86 means. You
Yep.
86 it, you throw it in the trash, you cut that, that's done. Everybody knows what that means. And he knows exactly what it means. And if he's going to sit there and say, oh, I didn't know what it meant, or I didn't think it was going to be related to, attempted murder or another assassination, whatever, he's full of it. He's full of crap. He's a liar. He's evil, and he's shown his colors, and he needs to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law for what he did, because that is inciting violence.
Sure.
I do not condone violence in any way, shape, or form. I don't care who you are, what your beliefs are. I love everybody. I'm taught to love everybody. We're all God's children. We all got to live here together.
Yeah.
Let's live here civilly together. Now, that in Butler, Pennsylvania was an absolute S show. You know what I'm going to
Hmm.
say.
Yep.
I don't curse, so I
Yep.
won't. If you've ever been anywhere where a president goes or a candidate for president goes, the Secret Service goes there first. They
Hmm.
have their first arriving team. They have aerial coverage, shots of everything. They know, they even measure the distance between the buildings to building, building to chairs, chairs to pedestal where he's going to be speaking at, and then the distance from the building to the pedestal. They look at the weather. What's the wind going to be like? Is it coming out of the east or the west that day? Is it going to be overcast? Is it going to be sunny? How many drones are we going to have up? They do all this. And we've done this in the fire service where, we've been where we might have a public official coming somewhere. Police go out, Secret Service will go out there, the fire department will be out there because the fire department needs to be there. And God forbid if there is an emergency,
Yeah.
but we're all involved in what's called pre-planning, and you pre-plan this. And the Secret Service does it at a level that is much higher than you could ever understand, the level of pre-planning that goes into that. You can't tell me that there's no way that you didn't see that building and say that we need to have a shooter here, we need to have this protected. Not to mention, when you look at the footage, there was a cop who knew that the kid was up there. There were people that told cops that he was up there, and they
Yeah.
were all running around with their heads cut off. They were on a completely different channel than the Secret Service was on. Well, that's not the way you operate, because they have something going on in that situation, which is called unified command.
Hmm.
Unified command is all agencies talk through a command post and have an incident commander or a commander that's in charge of that rally or that gathering, and all the agencies talk together. They all talk to the command unit, and the command unit's relaying it to where it's got to go. So just because local police can't talk to Secret Service doesn't mean that local police channels aren't being monitored and shouldn't be going into that command bus, and that command bus is what's pushing it out to all the other agencies that are there. So listen, it was a total, absolute mess. It should have never, ever happened.
Right.
A demented young kid tried to kill somebody who is now dead. That family lost their child because their child got polluted by the society that we live in, listening to the news, reading the social media, all that stuff we talked about before, that if was not there, maybe it would have been a completely different outcome.
Yeah.
People can't think for their own. They're too busy listening to what other people are telling them to think.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But ultimately, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to say that, they knew it was going to happen and they kind of like let it go.
Yeah.
But what other kind of conclusion can you draw?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at that, even someone who does not know anything about public safety could look at that scenario and say, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. The building's right there. He's got a clean shot to the podium.
Yep.
How can you tell me that? And how do you not have drones flying?
The absurd
Not have
amount.
the radio to the command post
Yeah.
to say, "Oh, public's telling me that we got someone up on the roof." You heard them talking to their local agency, but no one was talking to the command post.
Right.
Why? Why didn't they have that channel to the command post, which could have pushed it out to Secret Service? But listen, when it all comes down to it, God controls our future and our past. Our stories are written. We don't know what they are. We don't know what we're supposed to do. God lights the way for us. God wanted him to survive because God had him for a bigger plan, and it ultimately ended up to save America. That's what God wanted him for, and that's why he survived. And he'll be the first to tell you, hey, God saved my life that day.
Yeah.
Bill talks about it all the time. He talked with Donald Trump when he was running the first time around.
Yep.
Phil wrote it on a piece of paper. He wrote the gospel symbols for him, and Trump said, "What does that mean?" Phil told him. And then Trump called him back again and said, "Should I get baptized?" Phil said, "Absolutely. What are you waiting for?" So Trump has a spiritual advisor that he speaks with. So he believed me. I don't know if he's Catholic or Christian or what he is, but he's definitely a believer, believes in God, and just loves this country and loves everyone in this country. Don't listen to what the liberal media tells you. He's Hitler, he's this, he's that. He's already been there. He's already been president for 4 years, and this country did nothing but thrive until COVID hit.
Yeah.
I want to really talk about conspiracy theories. How did COVID grow the way that it did? How did that get out?
Yeah.
Anything weird going on there? Did they know it would bring down the economy and destroy the economy for the world? Was it planned? Who knows? Was it a test run? I mean, I don't like to say these conspiracy things, but you gotta, I'm the type of person that will look at it and tell you whether it's black or white. It's that simple. And I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think. And I think it's all a bunch of crap. I think Trump is a good man and he believes in God and he's going to do everything he can so this country is successful. And everyone in this country is successful. Whether you're a D, whether you're an R, whether you're an I, he doesn't care. He is president for the country, not just Republicans.
Yeah.
So we as Americans, we got to get behind him and support him and listen to what he's saying, and we'll get through it.
Sure.
And that's the best thing we can do. And most importantly, you have faith in God and understand that God has a plan and everything happens because God wants it to. It doesn't happen because Donald Trump does it. It doesn't
Right.
happen because I sat here and said this today. It happens because that's God's plan. That's what he wants. It's that simple.
Yeah.
We're just here for the ride.
That's right. I think you hit the nail on the head there when you start talking about we've lost the value of life.
Yeah.
If we disagree with you, okay, well, we can take you out. Well, we don't want this baby. We can just get rid of that. Like, we've got to value life, and that comes from knowing that God creates all life. And I mean, man, that's the jumping off point. Whether we agree, disagree, anything.
We'll get off topic here, but you mentioned pro-life. I'm against abortion 155%. I don't believe in it. There are some exceptions that I might look at, but when you look at the liberal mind, right, they are all about, they did away with the death penalty in New Jersey and several other states where they're totally against the death penalty, right? So they'll fight and scream and stand up and go to court for the death penalty to say, oh no, you can't kill somebody. That's you can't kill them, can't kill them, can't. But yet they're killing babies like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just How do you have that logic?
Right.
It's okay to let a killer who murdered somebody live the rest of his life in jail on your tax dollar, right? And if he's convicted by a jury of his peers to death, then that's what it is. You're against that, but yet you're for a baby being born and just letting it cry away and die on the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Mhm.
And that's why we've got to all get grounded around Jesus. And that's our biggest problem. If this world, if we could just accept Jesus for what he did for us and live a godly life like the Bible outlines,
Oh man.
we'd be, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd look a
But
whole
we're
lot
not going to
better.
have it because we talked about the narrow road and the wide road, and there's always going to be people on that highway to hell.
Yeah.
It's our jobs to try and steer them off of that highway to get them on that off ramp
Yes.
onto the narrow road, but we can't always do it.
No.
But what we can do is make sure that we conduct ourselves in a way
That's right.
that will get people talking and thinking.
That's right. That's what we're trying to do right here. If you disagree with us, we still love you. We just want to
That's
get some
right.
truth out there. We want to show you, hey, this is what Jesus says. This is what the Bible says. Want to give it a shot? Want to check us out? You know, Phil famously said that before he came to Jesus. He was checking everything that preacher said to him, verifying, like, please check us out, verify it. Like, we're not going to steer you in the wrong way. We want the best for you. Even if you hate us, disagree with us, want nothing to do with God, we're still just want to share the gospel with you. It's up to you what you do with it. So that's good stuff. Man, great episode, Joe. I got to thank you for coming on, man. It was great to get to know you,
Yeah, I had fun, man. It's been
talk
fun.
with you. Tell people one more time if they got questions or if they want to follow you now, where can they find you and connect with you?
Yeah, everything's centralized on my website. We got a chat bot on there. You can get on there and you can actually have a chat with someone. We always have someone monitoring the chat. It's jerseyjoecongemi.com. There's also links there to all my social media. We put up some videos every Sunday. We take snippets and shorts of my sermon and put them out there. So all kinds of good content out there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well.
Absolutely. And if you're in the area, check
Oh
out
yeah.
Unashamed Bible Study, Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., Whites Ferry Road. You're going to have Joe leading the charge. And what is it? Once a month, you're going to have a special visitor. Who's on tap next month?
So we got Willie Robertson preaching with me on
Oh,
what is it,
man.
May 1st.
The Boss Hog, guys.
Boss Hog.
If you're in
That's
the
right.
area, go check it out. Trust me. Joe's doing good work down there. So, yeah, man, this was a lot of
May
fun.
1st. I have a correction there. It's June 1st.
June
I said
1st.
May.
Okay,
May
my
1st.
bad. Oh, there we go. All right, but go any Sunday. Go any Sunday.
Yeah, go any Sunday. I'm always there. I'd love to see you, baptize you. You know, we're baptizing every week, and you know, we're all just a bunch of followers of the Lord, just trying to do the right thing and just trying to, you know, just spread the word out there the best we can. You know, we answer questions and we have a good time.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Well, this was a lot of fun, some really good discussion. I'm positive, man, you encouraged our audience. You maybe enlightened our audience, maybe ruffled some feathers, but you probably challenged some thinking too. And we're called to do that as well, right? Just because we're followers of Jesus and everyone says, well, God is love, but sometimes love means doing the hard things. It ain't always the easy things. So we're trying to do that as best we can. So, and I'm sure you accomplished that today. Hopefully we just got people thinking a little bit about what is up when it comes to life and all aspects of it. So to my audience, have you guys ever caught yourself looking around and kind of asking, what is up with some of this stuff? You know, like, yeah, I think it's getting better now, but a few years back, some of the stuff we were just talking about, whether it was COVID or the assassinations or the weird election sequence and busted pipes and drop boxes, like there was some crazy stuff going on, and you just wonder, man, what is all going on? I'm telling you, there's always going to be uncertainty in life, and the answers to everything, you're not going to find them down here. You got to look up. That's where me and Joe went. We just got on our knees and said, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you on this. What do you got to say about it? If we look to God and his word, he will truly show us what is up. I promise you. I think the Bible gives the best answers, the best explanations. It has proven itself time and time again to explain why things are the way they are, why we do the things we do. It explains it all. If you're struggling or you want help or you just want to know more, you can join me any Sunday at FBC in Dunkerton or online on our Facebook page. If you're not in the area, you can go to Whites Ferry Road. You can meet Joe and everyone there in West Monroe. You can email me, whatisuppodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to jerseyjoecongemi.com. He'll respond as well, but you're probably going to hear the gospel from us. If you got any questions at all, that's where we're going to start with. So I'll give you this simple truth to start right here. No matter who you are or what you've done, God wants a relationship with you. That is a guaranteed fact. No matter what's in your past, God wants a relationship for you. That's why you were created. But it's up to us to choose him. He ain't going to force it. We're not going to force you. But that is where the hope, the joy, the peace, the love, all the good things that you want, that we want, that's where it comes from. If you haven't figured it out by now, there's absolutely nothing on this planet that is ever going to fully satisfy you completely or permanently. Everything's going to fall short. Everything's going to let you down. There is no person. There is no philosophy. There is no government. There is no president. There's no preacher or teacher. We got to look up. I welcome feedback, comments, questions, even criticism. Go ahead and leave them in the comment section. That's fine. Reach out. That's all I care. Reach out if you want to know more. Let me know what you're thinking. Help me hit my goal. Help Joe hit his goal by subscribing and getting followers and all that. I wanted to double everything on every platform this year, whether it was social media, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It didn't matter. You got to help me do that. So I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much for your support for me and Jersey Joe. We hope it really encouraged you. Lord willing, I'll talk to you on the next one.
Take care, folks.